Hello, and how are you? Good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. We continue to celebrate the 20th season of Red Barn Radio, and tonight we welcome you to show number 762.
Woo! Yeah.
Our guest this week is Nat Myers, and if you love the blues, this is the show you've been waiting for. Nat Myers is from Kenton County, Kentucky, which is in the northern part of the state and the third largest of our Commonwealth counties, next to Jefferson, which is where Louisville is, and Fayette, Lexington, our home. Nat is a talented interpreter of traditional fingerstyle acoustic blues, but he's developed a great repertoire of his own, song stories set to a music that harkens back to the early 1900s. Nat's delivery follows in the footsteps of players like Blind Lemon Jefferson, Mississippi Fred McDowell, and his favorite Charlie Patton. Time passes, but the blues remain. Tonight, the blues is here with us from Kenton County, Kentucky. Welcome, Mr. Nat Myers, to the Red Barn stage.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it, man. I'm just rolling on too, man. Yeah. This one's called It Is What It Is. Just about growing up where I'm from, honestly. So this one's called It Is What It Is. It is what it is. I'm born in a drive-through town. My cigarettes off the ground, you know me, they're what it is. You be lonesome, lonesome too. Gonna get your name tattooed, you know me, they're what it is. Something about the way you done, shining like the morning sun. Bring the showers, showers of rain. Oh, at dawn I'll take a Greyhound where you ain't been found. I do declare, gonna find me a better care. You know me, it is what it is. And I finally pawn the shoes, use a walk away from you. Know me, it is what it is. Well, I read in a cent on sign, though. It is what it is. I was raised a cent on sign. In black holes, you've been crying. Know me, it is what it is. And now you the page out the ink. What did the writer think? Know me, it is what it is. If you don't want me no more, come and take my right hand, my weeping willow moan. I finally pawned the shoes on. What it is, and I finally pawn the shoes, use a walk away from you. Know me, yeah, what it is. Said you don't want me no more, come and take my right hand, my weeping willow woman. Well, one more time around. Yeah, what it is. I was born to drive the town. Get my cigarettes off the ground, you know me, it is what it is. Said you don't want me no more, come and take my right hand, my weeping willow woman. Oh, well, dawn, I told you it is what it is. Something like that. Hey, brother.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Welcome, one and all. So good to have you with us. If you're just joining in, our guest this evening is Nat Myers. Music critic Nicholas Williams from American Songcaster says this: Nat Myers' style is homemade and unplugged. He's an artist that transports listeners to a forgotten time with an effervescent and authentic candor. How about that? Nat plays and sings in an unforgettable way, and I hope once you watch or listen to this evening's program, folks, you'll take some action and let him know how much you enjoyed it. Tonight, at least a few of the tunes he'll play come from Hobo Wine and Remedy Blues, released less than a year ago. Welcome back, Nat Myers, to Red Barn Radio.
Hey, Brad. Thank you, man. Well, I was going to play Hobo Wine here, but I wanted to do a little kind of intro. It's out of blues progression that I really like, and one of the ones I've known best is Crow Jane out of it, so I wanted to play Crow Jane first off, just kind of show you where I get my licks from a little bit. I like this progression a lot because it's famous for Crow Jane and Key of the Highway and Old Time Blues by Carl Martin, but I just thought I'd try to, bastardize it a little bit and make it my own, So this one's called Crow Jane and my take on it, so. Crow Janie, don't hang your head high. No, now, Dawn, you gonna have to lay down, die, gonna lay down, gonna die, gonna lay down, gonna die. I bought me a pistol, 40 round the ball. Shot my Crow Janie to a waterfall. Shot my Crow Janie, waterfall. Bought me 40 round the ball. I laid my Crow Janie with a golden chain. Every link I cried my Crow Janie name. Every link I cried her name. Every link, Crow Jane. Don't hang your head so high, dog. I buried my Crow Janie with a silver spade. And I cried my Crow Janie name. I laid her in a grave with a silver spade. One more time, Crow Janie, don't hang your head high. No, now, Dawn, you gonna have to lay down, die, gonna lay down, gonna die, gonna lay down, gonna die. Thank you. Y'all was really too kind. So I wrote Hobo Wine kind of just based off, we used to go behind, in Kenton County, there's I was good friends with the daughter of a judge over there, Judge Sheehan. We used to go behind his house, going to the woods, probably about 3/4 of a mile. There's a train bridge over Ludlow Train Bridge, and we used to go drinking there pretty much every weekend when we was in high school. So this one's just kind of based off them good times. So this one's Hobo Wine. My darling, tell me your history. Darling, wanna get drunk sipping on your poetry. My darling soul, ooh, speaking in rhyme when they start sipping on the Hobo wine. My darling, I'm a simple man. Deep me a bona fide dog, gonna understand. My darling so sweet and kind. Ain't no Bonnie and a sure as hell ain't no Clyde. My dog. My darling sipping nitroglycerine, asking for water, gonna give them gasoline. My darling who rockin' chair, got no straight leg down, gonna rock over there. My darling show you something never seen before. Daddy gonna walk in the room like a dog on all four. My darling show is kind and sweet. When they start talking better than shake a sugary. Oh my dog, something about the way you done. My dog let go, Kentucky gonna have some fun. Gonna get drunk, dog, gonna look up at the sun. My dog let go, ooh, have some fun. Dawn we gonna get drunk, look up at the sun. My dog, I go to the riverside, throw my gun in, duplicate the cafe for fire. Oh my dog, I do declare. My darling, tell me your history. Darling, wanna get drunk, sipping on the poetry. My darling soul, ooh, speaking in rhyme. When they start sipping on the whole wine, something like that now. Thank you, thank you. So, you know, this next one's called Romeo. I wrote this kind of, you know, I've fallen down a true crime hole for a little bit, so I was watching a lot of true crime, some of the throwaway pulp kind of stuff, and then some of them deeper Netflix ones and stuff. But I wrote this kind of based off one I heard from a fella named Aaron Frazier up at the Jalopy Theater in Brooklyn. He played one called Rodeo, I think. And I just decided I wanted to try to match the vibe a little bit. So this one's called Romeo. It's just about, you know, various personas of man and their various misgivings or, you know, tragedies, I suppose. But so this one's called, Romeo. Let's see if I can do it. Well, I knew a honcho 20 years. Out the pokey, he was living on the fringe. Spent his days cockfighting, tasting his darling's old margarine. Romeo, Romeo, where in the world did the Romeo? Well, I met a man who built his gal house, said, darling, we're gonna get rich. Then he burnt that stead on down, collect that little gal life insurance. Romeo, Romeo, where in the world is the Romeo? Where is he, Brad? You know where he is? Wearing that baby blue zoot suit with the shoulder pad that make him look 6 feet wide. And illusion rose pinned beside his lapel underneath his bolo tie. Romeo, Romeo, where in the world is the Romeo? Oh, where is he now? fight I was in was over a woman her new man shot me through and through. But that hole that he left in me, man, like nothing that you done, nothing like an exit wound. Romeo, Romeo, where in the world is the Romeo? When I rise with my body at my feet, man in the moon let down his silver chain, I climb up as he starts to sing. Romeo, Romeo, where in the world is the Romeo? Romeo, Romeo, where in the world is the Romeo? Oh yeah, man. Thank you, man. Yeah, you know, I read I forget the poetry book, but I think it's called or forget the poet, but it's called Night Sky with Exit Wounds. And I just thought exit wounds was such a it's such a powerful image, I guess. So this next one I kind of wrote is called Out in the Rain, You Can't See the Tears. I sort of started on this one maybe about 2 years ago for, you know, all the storm kind of came a-coming. But it's just kind of based off the idea of metempsychosis or metapsychosis. I can't say the word, but when you come back to life, you know, when you go through hell, some folks, you know, in Dante's Inferno, he describes seeing a line of folks walking back to the gate back to life in a certain way. So I was just kind of playing off that idea on this one. So it's called Out in the Rain, Can't See the Tears. Yeah. When God hawk into your third eye, you hawk right back and you climb from cloud nine. Your mama, she was no backup spitter, ain't been right since the old blue dog get bitter. You got hit back when you was 23 to a long hauler in a shotgun wedding. 3 decades on and he got the black lung. Curve fill him more for the good that he done. Try again next season, next year. Out in the rain where you can't see my tears. Out in the rain where you can't see my tears. You were dreaming all about his reincarnation, coming back to earth as a lonely crustacean. Preachers say his soul gonna flee Babylon. How come the psychics say his ghost drinking bottles of bomb? Siding his saying like a step at a time. Spoonful of sugar worth a lifetime of ride. Damn them torpedo, honey, full steam ahead. Get through to life, we gonna wind up dead. Try again next season, next year. Out in the rain where you can't see the tears. Out in the rain where you can't see the tears. Remember your love, new life flower in May. Let them false things with their feet made of clay steal your fortune saved on us, scratch off and die. So you ain't ever gotta work until the next life. If the good Lord book you no longer abide, don't let the devil know that you ain't even trying. Bury me under a bed of roses, dance on my coffin like they does in New Orleans. Try again next season, next year. Out in the rain where you can't see the tears. Out in the rain where you can't see the tears. Try again next season, next year. Out in the rain where you can't see my tears. Out in the rain where you can't see the tears. Something like that, Brad.
Well, something like that. Hey, Nat Myers is our guest this evening. He's from Kenton County, Kentucky, and he's been pretty busy over the past couple of years. I mean, as busy as one could get when everybody's locked inside. He's been touring with Willie Watson from Old Crow Medicine Show, and now Langhorne Slim. Nat plays blues guitar and sings blues music, which you know, unless you just showed up. You can track his music in several places. He's got some stuff up on Bandcamp, new album Hobo, Wine, and Remedy Blues, and also lots of really great vids on YouTube, so check him out. But, tonight you're here with us to watch Nat play and hear him talk about where the music comes from, and I'm glad you're all here with us on Red Barn Radio, and Nat, welcome.
Thanks, Brad. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the tribe up here.
We've been having fun, huh?
Yeah, man. It's been a good
nice.
time before the camera started rolling.
Yeah. So you were a baby in Missouri, Nat, but did most of your growing up in Kenton County, that that Kentucky place that some people mistake for Ohio, I guess. So can you talk some about your life as far back as you can remember it? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I got an older brother. He's 14 years my senior, so I think he's about 45 now. He lives up in Boston. I got a half brother. He's in the Air Force. He works for JAG. He's a JAG lawyer. But my dad came from I think Fort Wayne, but I think the Myers side of my family, the white side of my family is from the Ozarks around, I believe. My mom's from Busan, South Korea. She's born in 52. She came over here, I think around 69, 70, something like that. But yeah, I was born in Kansas City, but most of my growing up, most of the things honestly I remember just Kentucky side. It's interesting that you said that about Northern Kentucky, mistaken for Ohio, but I'm sure some folks in Southern Ohio get mistaken for Kentucky sometimes too. Man.
Yeah, I suppose so. Right. I suppose it goes both ways.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I feel like most of my life, my parents aren't really too into music. My brother was in like the college band or like the college marching band, stuff like that, saxophone. But I really got playing music kind of by myself, and as a kind of my way into music honestly came from poetry, and in between writing poems or working on verses, I was just kind of dinking around on the guitar, and eventually I figured out this is actually a perfect way to start doing it. And,
was that as early as middle school?
Yeah, I'd say I started playing around when I was 13. That's when I'm left-handed, so I was playing on some like right-handed guitars, just kind of upside down for a little bit. But when I was about 13, my mom got me a cheap old one of them like plywood Gibson. I think it's a Gibson. But like the starter kit kind of stuff. And I didn't start till really playing music kind of like more serious until maybe like right out of college. So
back in those days, in the earliest days when you were fiddling around with music, were you just sort of doing kid stuff, just stuff you heard on the radio and you like to check out?
Yeah, man. When I was little, I used to turn the volume up when my folks was out work. I used to turn the volume up, on stuff like Sublime or Minor Threat and stuff, and just like air guitar to myself like I was on a stage. And I think this is less an ego trip as back then now, but that's kind of how I got started. So,
what kind of a neighborhood did you grow up in? Like when you're going back to those early days, I'm wondering, were there other kids in that neighborhood you connected with? You have good memories of friends and neighbors you had?
Oh yeah, man. I remember. I didn't really hang out with too many folks in my subdivision. I live on Doriel Drive off Amsterdam. I don't know if that means anything to anybody from the listeners. But,
maybe, probably up there.
I grew up in Villa Hills, which is named after the Villa Madonna Academy up there. The nuns live up there. But most of my friends that I grew up with, they lived in Ludlow and Bromley. So those are two cities right along the river. Just a little west of Covington. So I go down the hill and just hang out with my friends Roger. Honestly, I got to give credit where credit's due. When I was like 15, 16, music's always been a real personal thing to me. It's kind of been something I do in my Tom Joad hole. But a lot of my friends were really into folk music, and I remember they had this gig together when they was 14, 15 called Front Porch Folk, and so they were playing out, and I had this really this kind of efficient friend named Bobby who would he always had the drive to put on things, so he did this thing called Hullabaloo up where I'm from for a couple years, just a small 100, 200 people coming to listen to the friends kind of play music. So that's honestly where I got started into working it on my own, just because maybe it's just competition a little bit, but it's like all my friends can play out a little bit, like why can't I get a little nifty on the guitar too,
Yeah.
So
Huh. Hey, I'm kind of curious, when you were growing up, were there other kids in your neighborhood and your school who you felt looked like you, people that you could identify with on that level?
Oh no, man,
No?
not really at all. I mean, I think there were maybe 2 Asian folks who went to my school. There weren't really many African American people neither. I mainly grown up in kind of white environs. Most of the people I've grown up with is they's white. They don't look like me, but I think we kind of mentioned a little earlier. I think it sometimes whether or not it's on purpose or anything, you kind of feel like a foreigner in your own land a little bit. So I didn't really take to too much, because especially it's in my immediate up in Villa Hills. That's why I started hanging out with cats from Ludlow and Bromley, which is just a little further from my house. But kids on my block would steal my Pokemon cards and stuff like that. So I don't want to hold against them, but Villa Hills, I guess you call it a suburb, but it's definitely, I always describe it as get country real quick up there too. A lot of the roads and such is named after the old families, and when you go to high school and stuff, the Eubanks or what have you, they're actual kids in your school and stuff that you grow up with. So just to answer your question, I think I really kind of kept to myself when it came to writing the music a little bit. I had this real good friend, John McAfee. This one time, probably when we were 15, he pulled out a old Remington typewriter out of his clothes closet to give it to me. But I remember he was doing a jig to "Bumming Around," this song by I'm blanking on the name, but I remember it was just I remember thinking to myself, man, if I can make some music to make folks move like that, then I think I'd be real happy about it. But I think mostly the musical interests of my friends dictated where I came from a lot. I used to listen to a lot of punk and a lot of hardcore and pop punk and stuff like that. It's real popular where I'm from. So the transition, I guess, is just kind of, I don't know, that's a good question. So where I started playing kind of old time music as kind of my sort of thing. And I wouldn't say I played the best neither than even folks who were up where I'm from. I always look at I always admire folks who can play it note for note. If you can play a Roscoe Holcomb song, or a Doc Boggs song pitch perfect, to me you're a better musician than I am. It's something that I admire. Most of my stuff's just kind of knick-knacking off greater musicians, I suppose, from back in the day. I've always been interested in history as well. So I think that's one of the reasons why I started getting more into the pre-war. And honestly, my punk background, because I think kind of the punkest thing you can be doing right now is listening to Carl Martin, on YouTube videos and stuff. So yeah.
I'm wondering if when you were in your high school years, did you go to a big public high school?
Yeah.
Did you have adults, mentors there who saw the light in your eyes, or who fed your interest in music and writing?
Yeah, definitely. I went to Dixie Heights High School on Dixie Highway, Turkeyfoot Middle School on Turkeyfoot, and I think Dixie's a little backwards. I think anybody who went there can speak to it. But I think maybe it shouldn't be this way, but I got a helping hand from folks who kind of recognize that I got the muse, or I got something in me that's kind of wants to be, more than just like, work day, and I guess when I get older. And they try to cultivate that a lot. Chris Gillis over at Dixie Heights High School, or Miss McCormick, my history teacher. I wouldn't say, we was talking a little bit about kind of like how perspective has shifted, how there's kind of like this deeper, like folks are becoming more conscious of, the southernness of things, or we were talking about the Confederacy and the myth it exists in here in Kentucky, but I think they actually taught me some stuff that weren't just like being regurgitated none. So actually telling me like what kind of direction I want to go in, writing poetry was mainly the thing. I'd skip my German class, in my lunch break so I could go hang out with Chris Gillis and he could read to me poems, or, even the Scholastic contest, he'd be reading what all the other students were doing at the other schools, and if he liked something, he'd read their poetry to me and stuff. And so I definitely owe a lot to the teachers I've encountered, I guess, because I didn't really have no direction till I was a little older, I guess.
It's kind of it's fun to think about and I think important to think about the mentors in our lives. They aren't just people necessarily who teach us a skill, how to do something, but they teach us how to do life. It's like it's a bigger skill that a good mentor provides. And
yeah, man. I had this one teacher. His name was John Fisher. He worked at Louisville. I remember I'd written like an essay or something like that. He was teaching epic Greek poetry to us.
Is this in college?
Yeah, this is in college in Louisville. Yeah. And but he took me aside after class one day and he was like, "You write poetry, don't you?" Just from reading what I was doing. And he was like, "Well, what have you read? Have you read any of the ancients? Have you read any of this stuff?" And I think that's kind of also what turned me on a little bit to working on the pre-war, because I think a lot of the musicians from back in the day, even now, a lot of contemporary folks doing it. But the closest thing I think to, the Homeric quality of poetry, which I think is like one of the highest forms of, titillation, honestly. So, really kind of like seeing that there was no wall between, performing music and poetry, that we've kind of dissected them a little and made them different genres or different disciplines or whatever, but they're like very much the same, I think. And this is not knocking none of the poets I studied with or I've read or none, but I think a lot of the poets I know nowadays are playing on guitars and they're singing for folks right now and touring around the world. So,
well, when we get back, we'll talk some more in a little bit. We can touch maybe on a poet or two that you felt have shaped some of the songs that you write. Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's get back to some music.
All right.
All right. Yeah, Nat Myers, folks.
Cool. But this one's kind of, just going back off that poetry, I've been trying to read a little bit more, but I'm reading the same things over and over again. I've been digging into Moby Dick a little bit, Melville, and he's got this real beautiful line, or like at the very beginning in Lumens, he talks a lot about water and just the purpose of water and how important water is, and that it's like this striving magic of life. And he's got this really beautiful line talking about, he's like, would people travel their 1,000 miles to see Niagara if it were but a cataract of sand? And I was just thinking to myself, there's we got plenty of water over on this side, I think. Maybe it's not the best water, but I know out west they's having a little drought and all that. And I was talking with my partner Ari just about stuff called like water dowsing and sort of what people used to do back in the day to try to figure out how they can get their own water. And I think we could use a little divine inspiration these days, but this one's kind of like more play on somebody simping for somebody who does water dowsing, I guess. So it's called Willow Bitch. Let's see if I can do it a little bit. My baby got the rod, I got the pick. Tell me where, done, I'm gonna dig, dig, dig. Tell me, honey, where to dig my well. My water vine, honey, sure do cure dry spell. When the new depot come a boogieing in, my baby gonna make a living divining. Tell me your name, where to dig my well. My water vine and honey sure do cure dry spell. I told you all about my willow witch woman. When you ain't got no water in your home, my baby gonna bring it gushing clean and cold. Tell me your name, where to dig my well. My water vine and honey sure do cure dry spell. Willow witch since the day she born, now she doodle bugging far from home. Tell me your name, where to dig my well. My water vine and honey sure do cure dry spell. I told you. I'll tell you twice. All about my something like that now. Awesome. Thanks, man. Well, me too, Brad. Me too, man. Damn, with mine. So I'll try not to get too like politicized with all this time because I feel like it's just like the quickest way to dig yourself a grave a little bit these days. But I really like this one musician, Sonny Boy Nelson. I played a little Pony Blues before it went live. But I watched his stuff on the Lomax archives maybe like, I guess 9 or 10 years ago, and I thought he was just like one of the wildest guitarists I'd ever seen. And he's got these really beautiful songs that they recorded him back, I think, in the 60s or the 70s. And I was just trying to learn his licks, and I wrote this one called Remedy Blues, just kind of make a little sense, maybe trying to make a little light of all the heaviness going on right now, and just trying to learn a little Sonny Boy Nelson on top of it. So this one's called Remedy Blues. Let's see how it goes. Tell me, Dawn, who your remedy? Tell me, honey, who your remedy? You ain't got no remedy. Come and take a hold of me. Worried, Dawn, I'm worried all the time. Worried, honey, I'm worried all the time. Day until I quit my quarantine. Maul my wall, honey, bed bug in my overhaul. Maul my wall, honey, bed bug in my overhaul. Woke up this morning, my remedy ain't hit all. Tell me, honey, who get your mask and gloves? Tell me, honey, who get your mask and gloves. 6 feet too far, I'm quarantined from the one I love. Up the morning, honey, read the morning news. Tell me, honey, I read the morning news. Said the whole round world they got them quarantining blues. Oh, wait now. Tell me, honey, who your remedy? Tell me, honey, who your remedy? You ain't got no remedy. Come and take a hold of me. Something like that now, Brad. Well, the crowd seems to like it. Let's see what you want. So next one I got is called No Pistol Side. And again, you know, a lot of my stuff's written just off me kind of messing up the stuff that I originally wanted to write. So, you know, this one's called, or that I was trying to learn. So this one's called No Pistol Side, but it's sort of based off you know, my ill attempts at trying to do some Big Bill Broonzy stump blues. I think that's a really beautiful piece. There's a, I guess I could see a pretty popular video of him playing, I think, right towards the end of his life on a porch up in Michigan, I think. It's got like 3 tracks of his, How You Want Your Rollin' Done, Hey Hey, and Stump Blues. But this one's just kind of based off Stump Blues a little bit. So it's just kind of, you know, I'm not too much of a gun shooter myself, but I know some of my friends are, you know, they like their Second Amendment, etc. I haven't really shot a gun outside of skeet shooting, honestly, but this one's just kind of imagine it from maybe one of my more manic friends and sort of their lovelornness, a lot of lovelornness among the folks I've grown up with, just about, you know, woman or man, etc. So this one's called No Pistol Side. It's me, honey, don't why do me like that? Hey, my honey dog, why do me like that? I put a hole in your heart wider than Cumberland gas. So heed me, my no pistol side. Heed it. So heed me, my no pistol side. I hear my darling in the back door, she crying. Pistol, you at my side. I didn't need no pistol with you at my side. With your eyes like that caliber my 6-shooter to the riverside. Take my 6-shooter to the riverside. Toss it in dust and Caton, cafe to the lane five. Oh yeah. Thank you.
All right. Before we get back to more music with Nat Myers, and before I tell you what's coming up next time on Red Barn Radio, I want to remind you of something, and that's that the Red Barn live streams, both tonight's and on any Wednesday, remain available online for you to view at your convenience on Red Barn YouTube channel. Our live video stream is also available on the WEKU.org website, as is our audio stream, compliments of WGAD.net in Central New York. Don't miss a single episode of our program, and please be sure to tell your friends what you like about Red Barn Radio. Red Barn Radio. Listen to the live. Now, next week, this is for fans of Elton John, Dolly Parton, and the late Dr. John. You got to know about our guest who's coming up. Her name is B. Taylor, and she is a rising American singer-songwriter whose quirky tunes are a natural outpouring of the very colorful life she lives. B is building a fast-growing fan base with her get-down grooves and the one-of-a-kind live show experiences she brings to towns from coast to coast. I can't wait to talk with B next week, and I'm really excited for you to hear this talented lady and her terrific band do their thing on the Red Barn stage. That's B. Taylor, next week on Red Barn Radio. And now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We welcome you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting from the Arts Place Performance Hall here in the great city of Lexington, Kentucky. Now please welcome back Nat Myers to the Red Barn stage.
Hey, Brad. I never left. Paying it back now. Yeah, so I guess the next one I got is called Cattleman Blues. It's I wrote this one for a fella I got on Tick, in all my loneliness.
Wait a minute. You mean TikTok, don't you?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Are we on? I'm on the wrong app? Maybe they're both the wrong app, though. Honestly. But no, there's this fella up in Wisconsin. His name's Bobby Skachke, and he just runs like a dog training, dog breeding sort of thing up there. And he just asked me, in a comment, he was like, "Write me a Cattleman song." So I was listening to a lot of Bo Carter at the time. He's got some really good, just kind of playful ones. So I just kind of riffing off that idea a little bit. Willow Witchin', I think, is also a little based off, what I know from Bo Carter, just kind of what I like hearing out of, trying to imitate a little of Bo Carter. So, Cattleman, this one's basically just a, shill song for if you need a dog trainer or anything like that, and you're in Wisconsin. Bobby's definitely the fellow to hit. So hopefully this song is good advertisement for him. So, all right, yeah, it's called Cattleman. One goes for you, Bobby, if you out there. You got two dogs behind me, the Cattleman. Got two dogs behind me, the Cattleman. Got two dogs behind me, the Cattleman. No, the puppet like the back of his hand. The puppet waiting on him for their cue. The puppet waiting on him for the cue. The puppet waiting on him for the cue. Saying that a dog, do you want to do? Well, I hear that Bobby got third eye. I hear that Bobby, he got third eye. I hear that the Candleman got third eye. No, them puppet to like a third eye. Well, no, the puppet proving that the owner the fool. When all the mother owner prove the puppet the fool. When all the mother puppet prove the owner the fool. Make them with they had a Candleman too. Well, gonna teach them more than tricks. Gonna teach them more than just tricks. Gonna teach them more than just tricks. Teaching them more than just shake and sit. I think I'm gonna get a Candleman. I'm gonna get me a Candleman. I'm gonna get me a Candleman. I may search everywhere in the land. Something like that, man. I like that line of, Candleman got third eye. Somebody joked he must be sitting on it a little bit, and I always thought that was that's the truth. In the divine, what we can't see. All right. So this next one I got is called 38 Parallel Blues. I don't really play it out too much, but a friend of mine's been listening to it a lot, and he's telling me it's a good song, so I shouldn't be shy from it. Let's see if my fingers keep up. But I lived up in New York for a little bit, and I was working on, up there, they deliver marijuana on the back of a bike, and so I used to ride. They call it riding the serve, and so I used to ride with some of my friends up there. Shout out to the crib, Pop Perk, Doll, all them cats. They still out there. My boss Neil, but kind of like the base of this song. I think Doll was telling me about the story of how his uncle was, he had just gotten out of jail, but he was planning on leaving the state or something. He was going to wind up breaking his parole, and I thought that was an interesting story. So this kind of told from a perspective of, his lover, the persona's, lover of the person who's going away, I guess. So let's see how this goes. I haven't played this one too much since I was busking, so let's see here. My man tell me, planning on breaking parole. Gonna hit a few lick, gonna buy him a Greyhound home. May think he crazy Dalton, but that is how he rolls. Never listen to a better angels or do what he told. Hey, well, woman, ain't gonna listen to you. You ain't a one around here to be telling me we're blue. While you's out every night, darling, getting lit, I was at home playing pickup sticks. Our love started like a 45. Never got started 'cause the sparking lost its desire. Lie me up the back with dawn, and I feel the green on the toe. From the tip of your finger to the root of your toe. I'm gonna call you up many years from now. I may be 65, but I sure ain't fragile. Tell the truth, Dawn, I still think of you every once in a while. I hope you ain't never been put back on trial. Promise me silver, promise me gold. Walk in the 38 parallel of my soul. Walk in the 38 parallel of my soul. Walk in the 38 parallel of my soul. Something like that. That's one of the first songs I wrote. True told. Yeah, it's
The first song you wrote was the toughest one to play.
yeah, man. It's hard to get the rhythm down. It's almost like you remember what it was, and then you try to remake it what it was, but it's just like your fingers can't remember what you were doing back then. It makes it seem more technical than it really was,
Yeah.
So, hope that didn't sound too bad. Yeah, man. So this next one's called "No Gas, No Electricity." I can't presume on all stuff that happened over in Western Kentucky, and a lot of chaos. I was actually out of state at the time, but I was real touched by just the folks I was around. Just when they heard about the news, they immediately reaching out. It just reminds me that Kentucky's my home, and I might not have got put out by everything that happened, but it could happen to me too. So I don't want to presume on anything, but it breaks my heart. But this one's called "No Gas, No Electricity" because I feel like everything from gas price to grocery prices going up, electricity too. But it's like can't even get. We're paying more, but we're getting less from it a little bit too now. So this one's sort of based off, I guess, a little bit of Catfish Blues by Robert Petway. Again, my kind of like my ill attempts at him. So, let's see. Got no gas, so gasoline. In the storm, it stole my electricity. Got no gasoline. Got no gasoline. Got no gasoline. Got no gasoline. When the creek right to my front door, man, my truck, it ain't gonna start no more. Who knock on my door? Knocking on my door. Knocking on my door. Knocking on my door. When the rainy ride to like the tide, my mother told me death and taxes till the day I die. Death and taxes till I. 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 We'll get the sandbag, I'm gonna get the spade. We gonna weld it house up until we're waterproof, till we're waterproof, till we're waterproof, till we're waterproof, till we're waterproof. Oh, we'll play down now. Something like that now. Something like that.
Okay, that's my favorite.
Gas out the tank, man. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Hell yeah.
No, I just love that staccato. That nice muted strings and that.
Yeah, man.
That's hot.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I like that a lot. Hey, tell us about that instrument you got there.
Oh yeah, man. I love to. This thing's this is an actual like concrete example of serendipity, I suppose, and also a lot of hard work. But I never thought I could get me a mule guitar like this made out by a fella named Matt Ike up in Saginaw, Michigan. I think he gives Nationals a run for their money when it comes to the makeup of them. But I got this guitar just by happenstance, running into real folks who I guess just meant what they said. this guitar player named KK Hammond over in London. She saw some of my stuff. I started posting videos probably about 7-8 months ago, and she sent my stuff over to Matt Ike. And Matt Ike, just like, he saw my stuff and saw me playing on an old Kalamazoo. That's what I usually play on when I practice and such. And he was like, kind of set out that he was gonna make me a guitar and give it to me, along with my good friend Jay. And so they gave me this instrument just out of love. And so I'm trying to. It's a mule guitar. It kicks back a lot still, but I think I'm starting to get a little hang of it. It's a powerful instrument, honestly.
Yeah. So what do you mean, you and Jay? So Jay, does Jay also play that kind on a resonator?
Yeah, he plays Delta blues and country blues, a lot of slide guitar. But yeah, just like, bedrock folks, just maybe not even knowing that it weren't anything that's in my tax bracket, I guess, but just felt like I deserved kind of a meaner instrument for what I was doing, and just put the money aside and got it for me, and hope I can do him justice a little bit. Yeah, so.
Hey, do you know? Can you tell us about some other young players who are doing the kind of music that you're doing?
Yeah, man, I'd love to.
Yeah.
There's quite a few. I mentioned I was up at Jalopy Theater. There's a lot of really talented, I think, musicians kind of keeping the old time and the pre-war and, just kind of the old country blues alive a lot up there. Someone comes to mind is Jerome Paxton, Farrell Foster. Those are some of the finest musicians I met up there. Al Deneen, Miriam L. Hodgley. I think, within country blues itself, Cedric Burnside, I think he's a grandson of RL.
Oh.
He just came out with a new album that I think's real tight, and he does a lot of throwbacks, but he does a lot of his own stuff too. But he's got a beautiful cover. I think the first song that RL ever recorded was "Bird of a Feather." The song's "Bird of a Feather," and Cedric does a really beautiful version of that. Out of Georgia, there's this musician named John Tavis Willis, who I think is one of the finest country blues guitar pickers out there. If y'all can get your hands on him, I definitely recommend. He's something else. I really like kind of like folks who's working a little outside of the genre too. Maybe adjacent. I don't know, country blues adjacent. I really like out of Northern Kentucky. There's my good friend Jay Skaggs. I think he does some really, really great Americana folk music. He's starting to get a little steam behind him, which I'm pretty excited about. Jordan Daniel Smart. There's a lot of cats I think holding it down who, like, I don't think am maybe broken out to the point they're recognizable, but in the scene I know them.
Yeah. You mentioned mostly men. Any women?
Oh yeah. I like Amethyst Kia. I already mentioned her, but Local Honeys that y'all had over here.
Yeah.
I think Local Honeys are some of the finest stuff, partially because they're willing to kind of break outside the genre to see where it can kind of go, honestly. And they got some pipes and just some real sporting hands on top of it, so it will help. Yeah.
Well, you got some pipes too.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you got a great voice, and so is it on target to say that blues is more of a vocal tradition than a guitar-driven tradition?
That's a good question. I think the guitar definitely came in. I don't exactly know where the pedigree, to trace the whole pedigree, but from the guitar really operating as a kind of accompaniment, or if you look at kind of what is spoken in a blues song and looking at the guitar as kind of like the chorus in a Greek theater responding to what the voice is saying, that's kind of like how it really seemed to start. Instead of having to chop an axe, like figuring out how to make that vibe on a guitar and being able to do a field holler over it. I think the vocals are definitely, I think that charms me. I love the guitar playing of really good guitar players, but when you hear Ed Bell singing on Mamlish Blues, talking about his gal, it's just like the singing is what actually makes it. When you listen to old Blind Lemon or Charlie Patton, it's not just his guitar playing that's really doing it. It's really his vocal and his vocal exercises, I guess. So, yeah, I think it definitely it has a lot to do with vocal or a harmony between the two.
Yeah,
something
right.
something I'm still kind of like, striving for that liminal state where they each match each other correctly, I guess, in a way that's frenetic and powerful. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of knock it around a little bit.
Yeah,
So you're pretty well versed in blues. I mean, you've made a study, and your study has been as much about has really been, it sounds more about playing than about sort of reading the scholarship that's been written about the blues players. It seems to me that you see learning tunes as sort of the gateway for you to understand, better the players and the significance of the players that you sort of emulate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've definitely wanted to get more into the reading of the blues, but I think the playing of it and like taking on whatever vibe or trying to take on whatever kind of energy or feeling that those musicians had in mind is what really turned me on to it. And then kind of just reading about the musicians, reading about the compositions of songs, that's kind of turned me on to learning more about the biographies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a child of the internet when it comes to history and my absorption of information. I know there's like scholarly reports like John Hammond and all them kind of cats. They've written like some treatises that tell the truth, I think, pretty well on it. But like when you're actually, it's almost like a scavenger hunt, I guess, like where you learn more and more about the piece on your own, or more about the musicians, kind of like by what pieces, they say of other musicians. I'm really big on this fellow named Tom McLennan, and some people say, he played duo with Robert Petway. They got a lot of similarities in their songs, but other people say that they were contenders against one another, playing in a really small circuit where they were both doing the same sound. Other stories, I think what's interesting as well is like the poets are old. Not a lot of the actual history of the folks is like down on paper, and so like you got to work with like one picture of somebody and then hearsay from people who knew about him 40 years after the fact when an interviewer finally got the mind to go and ask about him.
Right.
So I think learning that kind of like learning from that history, just kind of, I guess, doing my own sort of ethnographic dive without actually having any like authority, I guess, on it, and like looking for the authority yourself, I guess.
So when you get into thinking about this kind of music, blues music, just as Charlie Parker is a name that hangs over jazz and Hank Williams over country music, it's always going to be Robert Johnson, over blues. Is that the place where you start with the blues, or do you think about the people who taught Robert Johnson how to play? Do you get into that?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I think yeah, Robert Johnson's always going to be kind of a top dog. I mean, that's what my dad used to listen to. That was really my introduction to the pre-war blues. But I think it's interesting to figure out the figures who came around him. Out of my own story, I remember I've listened to Love in Vain by Robert Johnson like 1,000 times. I still can't play it right, but I still think I think that's one of the most beautiful songs. And of all the music I've heard since then, even within the genre, I still might say that, it's Love in Vain might be one of the most beautiful songs ever written, Well, I think also the impact comes from like, learning a little bit about kind of this, like, just what little history we do know about those musicians. Robert Johnson's almost like this, this Jesus figure. He went out, this Tom Joe figure, went out into the woods, came back, right? I think it's curious when you actually meet people who met him, and Son House has said a lot about him, but I think everything Son House says, everybody takes with a little grain of salt now.
But you know, like I think John Hammond Jr. or something like that had an old documentary where he was kind of tracing, you know, the origins of Robert Johnson or whatever like that. But he actually found Willie Mae, who's the woman that Johnson's speaking to at the end of Love in Vain, and she, you know, she could recite his lyrics to some of his songs. Hadn't seen him since he got on a train, but you know, she had no idea that he'd written a song about her, right, and that had been recorded. And I think that also like increases the impact of some of that music. I wish I knew a little bit more about the other musicians kind of around him. You know, I wish I knew more about, you know, Son House's life and Charlie Patton's life, but there ain't too much info really about that. You know,
So what was it? Thinking about Robert Johnson, what was it that Robert Johnson brought when he came back from wherever he was?
That's a good question, man.
Now, what was it that just blew everybody away? Was it that high voice? Was it his prowess on the instrument?
I think it was both. I think, you know, his voice is very preternatural. You know, it's very almost. It reminds me of Michael Jackson, honestly. You know, he's got this Michael Jackson-esque voice, and he's singing.
Cool.
He's singing these really high chorus notes. But I think what you know, since I've been learning about the blues and you return to his repertoire, is how much of the stuff that he borrowed, but also kind of how much of the stuff he definitely created himself. Like, you know, Up Jump the Devil Preaching Blues by him. You know, I don't think I've ever heard a blues riff like that from anybody else. But you know, then you got his stuff like, you know, in D and stuff where it's you know, it's very much Lonnie Johnson-esque, who's another really big guitarist back then. Lonnie Johnson might be, you know, one of the biggest go-getters in my opinion. His stuff's something else. Give Jimmy Page a run for his money. But yeah, I think he's just, and also just like, I wouldn't say that any of the artists around him didn't lack the sincerity, but he had such a large repertoire. You know, I can't say like about his actual talents, but I think it's something when back in the day when you were doing the one takes, you know, I think the average was, you know, you were supposed to have 3 songs if the voice fellas came to your way and like wanted to record you. You had 3 tries and you had 3 songs. You had to have 3 songs, play for them, and you had 3 takes. And if you couldn't do it, that was it, right? But you know, folks like Charlie Patton or Robert Johnson, they were able to lay out, you know, in their recording sessions, just like straight up. You know, 10, 15 songs off the bat. And I think it's, you know, when you realize that, you know, those are one takes, and then he's got some alternate takes, right? But those are all one takes, and it just kind of speaks to, I think, the mastery that obviously maybe the record producers back then must have recognized to want to, you know, lay that much on the line for him, because I'm sure that would have cost something, but yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that that a lot of the tunes you come up with on your own are ones that you sort of arrive at when you fall short. I don't know if I understood you properly.
Oh,
but
yeah, no,
is
that's
it
exactly it,
songs
man.
that you arrive
Yeah.
at when you kind of fall short of playing exactly what you want, or of the people you're copying or, you know, studying or whatever.
Yeah, 100%, man. I was over in San Diego and somebody asked me about, you know, what kind of stake I have on the music. It's like I can't presume to sing like you know, POC folk or anything like that, but you know, I still think black musicianship is some of the highest you know, some of the highest quality stuff America's ever made, and I think it's nothing wrong to try to aspire for that kind of that excellence, you know.
Yeah, man.
But you know, yeah, it's curious. I've definitely tried to, you know, make something on my own. I was telling you know, I started playing with shows with Willie Watts and stuff like that, and I was talking to my gal, and I was just like, you know, I'm a little nervous, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, she told me like, you know, it isn't that big of a deal because you don't present anything more than what you are, and I think that's, you know, a little truth of it. So that kind of killed my nerves a little bit, I guess. So
Yeah, that's a very nice thing to say, and yeah, and but she's right. You know, it's like you're playing straight ahead and sharing some music that frankly we don't get a chance to hear a lot of.
Yeah, man.
It's really great.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, the country blues, and you know, it's like I said, it's very adjacent to, I think, a lot of stuff that you were swimming in as well, where a lot of the old timey and a lot of the traditions, they're shared stuff. You know, when I was touring with Willie Watson, he's got this really beautiful version of John Henry, you know, where he's talking about being able to hear John Henry's hammer swing from like, you know, half a mile away, that kind of stuff. And that take, you know, on the banjo was completely different than the primarily country blues examples I've gotten it from Fred McDowell or Mississippi John Hurt. And I think it just kind of reminds me of, you know, the shared stories of the American mythos, you know. It don't really matter what kind of color you are, what background. Maybe you take something different away from it, but it's all from the same pool. We're all wading the same waters, you know. So.
Hey, where else are you going to be going with Langhorne Slim, and that's a neat relationship that you've developing there, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm real stoked to meet Langhorne. I'm real glad he took me on. I'm gonna be up in Southgate House. We'll be down here at the Borough on the 10th.
Oh, nice. 10th of
February.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a date that some of our listeners, local listeners, and your regional listeners can put on their calendars.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you free as well, anybody free?
I'll be free.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm playing up there, and then I'm gonna play in Southgate House Revival. And then I think we're going up to the Athenaeum in Columbus and over the Arc at Ann Arbor. Yeah, going over to Evanston, I think, Illinois as well. Got about 6 shows. He's got a pretty good lineup too. I know, you know, you were mentioning just artists that I admire. Maybe not in the genre, but you know, Riddy Armand's new stuff. I don't know if you heard her stuff.
No, I don't.
She's out of here on La Honda Records. I think they're out at Bowling Green right now. But she's putting out some real great stuff. Same record folks as a Local Honey. So
all right.
Yeah, there's just like, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the stream, but she's gonna be opening for some of them Langhorne dates too. So I think people are gonna, you know, whether it's me or someone else, I think they're gonna be pleased up on some of the sounds that are opening and working with Langhorne. So.
Well, this has been pretty pleasing tonight, having you here. I've
I'm
really
elated.
I've enjoyed talking with you, and the music sounds great. And let's get back to some more of it.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Hey, let's Nat Myers.
So this one's just called "Lay Me a Pallet on Your Floor." See how I do it. Makes me's a pallet on your floor. Makes me's a pallet on your floor. Makes me's a pallet on your floor. Make me one your man will never know. Give me fine feather from your feather bed. Give me fine feather from your feather bed. Give me fine feather from your feather bed. And I'm gonna rip my weary head. My mother died and left me's all alone. My mother died and left me's all alone. My mother died and left me's all alone. And I got no way to call my own. I'm a stranger, I just got to your town. I'm a stranger and I just got in your town. I'm a stranger and I just got in your town. Tell me if you need me around. Eyed, young and foolish, easily led. Eyed, young and foolish, eyes easily led. Eyed, young and foolish, eyes easily led. Got nobody since my mama been dead. Makes me a pallet on your floor. Makes me a pallet on your floor. Makes me a pallet on your floor. Make me one your man will never know. I said, oh, I said, yeah, dog, baby. I'm a stranger and I just got in your town. I'm a stranger, I just got in your town. I'm a stranger and I just got in your town. Made me one they would never know. Oh, it makes me so powdered on your floor. Makes me so powdered on your floor. Makes me so pallid on your floor. Make me one your man will never know. Something like that, John. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. All right, let me tune down here a little bit. I'll try not to turn this into a stress stream here. I think that's good there. All right, this one's called Tamil Rose. I wrote this when I was busking a little bit. There's another one kind of like 38 Parallel Blues. Moon hanging in on your eye, bear me side. Moon hanging in your eye. Man can't call all night and day. My Tamil Road, yeah, do the gauntlet and locate. My Tamil Road, man can call all night and day. My Tamil Road, they go to Colombo. We'll go to Seoul, go to Tokyo, where I ain't never gone, I never been before. Go to Seoul and go to Tokyo. Tamil Road, remember Something like that now. Thank you, brother. Anyway, I just want to thank Red Barn, everybody here, for having me. I've been thinking about this show for a month, so I'm glad to actually be kicking a little bit. So this next one's called Poor Boy Headed Home. I kind of based it off of Poor Boy Long Ways From Home. It's kind of old traditional. I try to integrate both of them into. I'll try to integrate Poor Boy Long Way From Home into this one, but I just kind of, I've been on the road a little bit, and even though I've been at home these past 2 years now, pretty consistently, feels like I'm also far from home a little bit too, just with how everything been. So. Up in Wall Verona, I saw a man on the side. I pulled up on the shore, I said, hop on in, man. I got no. I say, where you headed, man? He said, none of your business. Truth, I'm just on the pull me off on the X-ray, man. My car broke down at the 309. Well, where you headed? I told you, man. How long you been gone? 16 years, man. You ain't seen your folks in that long? I live. Well, I pull up on the exit ramp. I say, no, man. He say, you want me to pay your fare? I say, no, man. I'll drop you off right here. We ask him how he gonna get there, wherever it be. He say he gonna catch the L&A. The L&A don't got no ticket, man. Say I know an engineer up there. Let me ride if I play for him a little on the hog. So we pull out his hog, start off down the road, kicking his feet. I hear poor boy. Well, I know he headed home. I wish he'd ride me. Well, poor boy. Something like that now. Thank you.
There are always lots of people to thank for each and every Red Barn radio program, and tonight we want to thank Nat Myers for being our guest. Our volunteers and staff make our production happen beautifully each week. Thank you all for listening to our webcast and watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations and media worldwide. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn's premier radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. You can listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. Those of you here in the Central Kentucky area, you got to be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. The Red Barn Radio website has updates and further information on our guests in our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. And now, once again, please welcome back for maybe one final tune, the Mr. Nat Myers to the Red Barn stage.
I got it, man. Let me tune up real quick.
All right.
This one's called My Friend Rooster, from my friend Mikey. When he drinks, he gets he turns into a rooster. That's why we call him Rooster. So let's see how this go, man. I haven't played this one out too much, so. Thanks everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. My friend Rooster, woo-hoo, don't bet on Rooster Crow for day. My friend Rooster, he don't bet on Rooster Crow for day. Don't bother him, woo-hoo, when a bandit walks away. My friend Rooster, he don't, it Rooster, he no blame out of here. My friend Rooster, woo-hoo, need no Rooster blade out of here. When he step in the ring, woo-hoo, don't think no will. My friend Rooster, he got good friend and family. My friend Rooster, woo-hoo, good friend, family. Got two little ones like him, woo-hoo, when a sweet Miss Julie. Oh yeah. All right, something like that, man.
How about that? That's Nat Myers.
Thank you so much.
And that's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. And you can also listen to archive performances on Spotify and iTunes, and you can watch mountains of video on the Red Barn Radio YouTube channel. And remember this, every like, comment, share, and subscribe helps bring Roots Music Southern Style to your neck of the woods. And finally this, if any of our featured artists are performing around in your area, in your mobile, get up and go out and shake your moneymaker. Let them know how much you enjoy it. They need you now more than ever. Now, from all of us here at Red Barn Radio to all of our friends worldwide, keep working together to be safe and healthy. Good night from Red Barn Radio.